Brno's main square. Thought that was pretty. I think I have it already in lights. Nice down here. I think I'll go up and get the cathedral. The cathedral was beautiful at night, but I didn't film it properly. This is Brno's, whatever how you pronounce it, cathedral. During the day, I tried to get it at night, but my camera didn't deal with the dark. Not sure if I got this during the night, but these are the two men who brought Christianity to the Czech Republic. Sunday Mass is going on, so I'm going to see if I can get in and at least, without disturbing anyone, pictures of the inside. I don't know if I got enough guts to go in there, though. Doesn't seem fair. It's a beautiful cathedral now. Just over here. I'm gonna sneak in. So I found the front. It's Sunday morning.
Otci všech lidí. Budeme odpovídat, Pane, smiluj se.
We took a tour of this at night, and it was a young tour guide from here, which was hard to understand, but there was some indication it had something to do with Napoleon. But again, my camera couldn't take any pictures. Here's the cathedral from actually the front of it, which is blocked off by some other buildings. But you got a nice overlook of parts of the city on Sunday morning, December 3rd. Yes. And I think that's a monastery up there. The hill, or was a monastery at one time. Kind of neat.
The night before the battle. So in this low ground here,
Santon Hill.
The battle would have been.
So now we're going up to the Santon Hill, leaving Napoleon, but some of the reenactors are up there now. So we gotta climb this big ass hill, and then we can see everything. Where we couldn't see nothing in the snow, and then the reenactment was right over here yesterday. On our way up, Napoleon was up here, so that's cool. So we're up on top of Santon Hill. We've seen some reenactors. It was a terribly hard climb, and I can't see. Whew.
Tu veux que je regarde? J'ai le méchant zoom. Le problème, c'est que s'il y en a un qui tourne, tout le monde tourne.
Should have brought their sleds. What's in here? Jesus is here. Oh Lord, there's a little altar. Oh, I didn't get the sword. Too cool. It's a little chapel. Some Catholic literature. He's got a bearskin shaker. Okay, can we see everything from here, basically? And this is okay. And I can't. I know. The problem is I can't see this damn viewer. Shoot. Okay.
This really is magnificent.
What we were missing the day before yesterday and yesterday.
Well, I
Strange
can
as well the
only
way
do
the snakes
this.
stick on one field, some fields, but not that one over there.
Dog nabbit. Should have brought a baseball.
When we were walking up, there was a church.
Well, I'm just gonna pan here because I can't see anything. And the Pratzen Heights, as I believe, is right in front of us. That's predominant, and that is actually the main point of the battlefield. But Napoleon was up here, and also at another place.
Oh, sorry.
But Alan's going to talk here and tell us, but I'm not going to be able to know what I'm pointing at because I can't see.
That's the right pose, Alan.
Beautiful country, isn't it? Wow.
So that's the country over there, isn't it?
Yep.
Would you like me to point over here?
Yes, when everybody comes by, I guess.
Okay,
I think it says
Is that visitor around over there?
Which is this highway that's right in front of us.
This is what Alan.
So this is a 45 position to dominate any thrust coming from Olmütz, and you can see how well that dominates that position. In the end, there wasn't that much fighting in front of the Santon, other than very early on. So, on the northern flank here, which we are, the battle starts with the Russian coming right forward, sending out flanking light troops to the left flank, and being beaten back by the French troops up here, and then Suchet and Caffarelli's division effectively just driving with the Austerlitz highway as their axis right the way back to the high ground that you can see in the far distance that's wooded. Yes, can you see that?
Yes.
So Bagration's pushed all the way back to there, and that's where the fighting on the northern flank will really end. So if we turn and look over our right shoulder, now we can see the very prominent rounded pair of trees. Yeah, I mean it's the sycamore gap of the battlefield really. It is, you see, if somebody chopped that down like they did the sycamore, it would be a real loss to the battlefield, because wherever you are, you can recognise that shape. It's the same shape 360 degrees, it's a ball, it's really good. And the Goldberg stream flows out of this valley here, behind the Zuren, and it flows into the wooded area you can see in the low ground. In front of the Zuren, going away to our left, but fading away to our left, into the village of Yerkovitz, which you can see directly in front of us there.
Right.
That's following the Bosnitz stream, which comes down here, through here, and then it will turn around to the right. You can see the wooded line, and it's going back towards the pheasantry. And the pheasantry you can start picking up, which is it's straight ahead of us now, but fading away slightly to the right.
I
You can
can't.
see above the pheasantries, you can see the ground gradually rising from right to left.
Did we walk down that line of trees?
No, I don't think you can see where we were, because what happens is the line of the Goldback then swings around to the left and it fades away, and so what we're seeing there is the line, if anything, of Pribishevsky's third column. The second and the first columns are on the other side of that. Now, and that's why we can't see the radar station, because that's on the other side. But that slope rises up to the very top, which is the Pratzen Heights, and I think you can just see the spire of the peace monument sticking out above the woods. Somebody got a pair of glasses or a telephoto lens, might be able to pick it out. Now, if you then follow to the left, the Pratzen starts dropping away to the left, and then if you follow the horizon to the middle ground, you can pick up a line of trees, a hedge line of trees, and as they peter out, the ground starts rising to the left again, and that's the Starvino Ride. And then if you come left again, but coming back towards the highway, following that line of trees, you're coming back to a village that you can see right in front of us now, if we are at half left, which is Bosnitz, and you can see the church of Blasovitz. So you can see the village of Blasovitz. And if you go to the left of Blasovitz, you can see the village of Croft. And then if you go beyond Blasovitz and beyond the Spaleny, right in that direction, you can see there's just below the horizon there's some more woods. And that's the area that we stopped at the beginning of at the end of the day that we arrived here. And we got a view of the valley, the Austerlitz valley from there. So that's Krenovitz right the way over there. And so if you went beyond that, the ground drops into the Austerlitz valley, or the Rausnitz brook, and that river flows all the way around the back of the Pratzen Heights. It joins the Goldbach, and now you can just make out a very flat area right beyond the trees of the Goldbach valley, and that's the general vicinity of the lakes, of the Section Lakes. What's going on? So if we were looking at the events that took place, as we described what's happening in the northern flank, we know that the Allied columns came down the Pratzen Heights, and we'd have a better view of what was going on over there on the Zuren, because all we would see here would be Pribishevsky's column, but also what we would see is coming towards us over those Pratzen Heights would be Liechtenstein's cavalry going through Miloradovich's and Kalarat's infantry right in front of that tree line on top of the Pratzen Heights, that open area there. And so they're all messed about and mixed up. When Napoleon decides it's time, he says to sort up on the Suren. He says, how is it going to take us to get there? He says, 10 divisions of Santon Hill and Van Dam will ascend that slope, the Pratzen slope, with Santon Hill on the right and Van Dam on the left. Van Dam will come round and will crown the Spálený Rady. And as he crowns the Spálený Rady, there's a massive firefight between Miloradovic and Van Dam, which he has to win. And then coming across from the Krenovitz area is Constantine and his Imperial Guard. When they come in, and that's where, in that open ground we can see around the Spálený Rady, tries to form square but is destroyed, and go running past Napoleon in ranch, shooting leave one square. Then also in that open cavalry ground, between the town of Blasowitz, the village of Blasowitz over here, and on either side of it and behind of it is where all the massive cavalry battles between Liechtenstein and Muras taking place, all that open ground there. As Van Dam wins the firefight and starts swinging around to the right, those grenadiers and the Imperial Guard who come up from the heart as we see in front of us. Napoleon abandons his position on the Zurin and he moves right up onto that high ground there. Rivo and Drouet then come out of this ground here and over that ground with one flank on Blasowitz to the north and one flank of Blasowitz to the south. They move over and fill in that gap and they push the Imperial Guard further back. And their numbers tell, so by the end of that push, Constantine and the remnants of Miloradovic's troops will have gone back over down into the Rausnitz Valley. Bagration is forced to go to the east towards Olmütz, and Van Dam, supported by the Imperial Guard, now swings round the Pratzen Heights with Santon Hill on his right, and Santon Hill has swung all the way around, so now he'll be coming down the Pratzen Heights and he'll be charging into the Russian infantry that are in the Golbag Valley, and the Russians are trapped. By coming towards us through that wooded area, so Duroc is sending a small force of infantry, and they can as escape routes, and most of Przemyślewski's column will be captured in that area, that wooded area that we can see in the middle ground. Meanwhile, Van Dam and the Guard artillery, they lie on the far side of the open fire on the Satch Moors, and you know the rest. It's a good spot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good.
You do get appreciation for just how thinly they must.
Yeah. Okay. So. Can't read any of this stuff, but
Yeah, that's the problem.
yeah. Beautiful shot. There's our coach. And that's where the battlefield, or the battle reenactment took place, right over in that area. This is our last stop, and I believe, well, I don't need to say anything because Alan will say it. Now I can see a little.
stopped here is because this is where on the 4th of December Napoleon meets Francis of Austria to conclude an armistice after the Battle of Austerlitz. You probably saw the painting, the picture of the painting on that plaque there, the two together. If you'd have gone into the museum, not being refurbished, they had a three-dimensional model on that, and they would have explained what went on. It was a bit naff, to be honest with you, so it was due to be upgraded. But nevertheless, that was 1/3 of the exhibits of the museum. On the 3rd of December, once Napoleon had walked over the battlefield, he spent the night, on the 2nd of December, he spent the night at the post house, and on the 3rd of December he traipsed over the battlefield and came back to the post house where he met Prince Liechtenstein, who was the envoy for Francis of Austria, and said that the Austrian army would like to agree terms with the French. The Russians were not interested in terms. They gathered their forces together. Bernadotte lost contact with the Russians because it was he that was pursuing Constantine out through Krenovitz. And the Russian army reunites and escapes off to the northeast. But Francis decides that he wants to sue for peace. So Liechtenstein, when he meets Napoleon at the post house, arranges for a meeting here on the 4th of December. So Napoleon comes down here and that meeting takes place. And I think it's quite amusing actually that Napoleon is so keen to be able to establish that he's of equal rank to Francis himself, that he's not this parvenu, that he's first amongst equals. And he makes a big show of embracing him and calling him brother, etc. And then they leave it to Liechtenstein and a Hungarian called Gyulai and Talleyrand to actually seal the peace that will take place on the 26th of December on Boxing Day. And for all of this show of friendship and brotherhood that Napoleon demonstrated to Francis, he really did rape and pillage him by the terms of the Treaty of Pressburg that was signed. The consequence of it was that all of the gains that the French had made through the two treaties that had taken place after the First and the Second Coalition Wars, the treaty, the Peace of Luneville and Lurben, I think it was, where the French gained all of those territories from the Austrians in northern Italy, and the Bavarians had gained some territory from the Austrians in Germany. They were reinstated. If you remember that Austria was given the Venetia and controlled a bit of a strip of the eastern Aegean down in Istria and Dalmatia. Well, all of that was taken away from her, and that becomes part of the Kingdom of Italy. Well, worse than that, the electors of Bavaria and Württemberg are elevated to the rank of king, and a few months later, the Holy Roman Empire, over which, I think with the exception of once, the Austrian emperors and the Austrian emperors had always been taking the title of Holy Roman Empire, and therefore ensured they had all this influence over Germany, was abolished, and it was replaced by the Confederation of the Rhine, whose influence was mainly driven by the French. And also the Austrians were forced to pay a penalty of 40 million francs, but no points deduction. And so that kind of establishes the way of things for a while. But this is a severe peace in Austria. Obviously it annoys a number of people, calling things like Confederation of the Rhine corrupt and whatever it is. I'm sorry, I'm joking because I'm an Everton supporter, so we've just been getting 10 points and that's what they have to say. They're not happy. But the Austrians were not happy with it. And so within less than 4 years, Austria will be declaring war back on France. So sometimes you can punish your enemies just a little bit too much, and they want to, they won't settle down for the peace. But I think what we see as a consequence of this, in my view, is that this is where the seeds were firmly planted for German and Italian nationalism, because for the first time we've got a confederation of German states, albeit under the French rule, but showed that they could be independent from control of Austria. And certainly it's the first time the Kingdom of Italy has been called Italy as a country, as opposed to just a general geographical area. And of course we know what that will culminate in 1870 for both those countries. So that's the significance of this location here. And if you're a plaque collector, and if you've been collecting those signs or whatever it is, well, there's the plaque there. I don't know whether it was in that building, whether they threw up tents here, or it was in this general vicinity. But that effectively brings to a close the 1805 campaign. From a Russian perspective, what will happen is they will withdraw back into the northeast, up towards the northeast, and sit on their borders with Prussia. Prussia in September 1806, having had this ultimatum in their pocket, Haugwitz is sent down to visit Talleyrand down in Vienna, never delivers that ultimatum, goes back to Germany, back to Prussia, and the Prussians have second thoughts about what they're going to do. But I think Napoleon has insulted them so much with the creation of the Confederation of the Rhine. There's the apocryphal it is, where it's just on the artist's pictures or whatever it is, but you have the Prussian guards sharpening their swords on the steps of the French embassy in Berlin. The war party is really up for it. And in September 1806 they finally declare war on the French. And that ends in that lightning campaign of Jena, where on 14th of October, the twin battles of Jena and Austerlitz, the Prussian army is virtually destroyed. And this time the French don't lose contact with their enemy, and Murat pursues Blucher right the way up to the Baltic coast, where he's forced to surrender. But a small Prussian force manages to escape to the east, into East Prussia, where they then meet up with the Russians, and Napoleon is forced to go and fight a campaign in what is today eastern Poland, but would have been Prussia in those days, and he suffers a significant bloody nose at the battlefield of Eylau, which I think we probably thought we were.
If not, they are given coal. Yeah, but you know, with the energy crisis, maybe coal is more valuable than the sweets. Yeah. I think you have been good. What do you think, Devil? Do you have any, anything written in your book? Who has been bad and should be sent to hell? So do they deserve some little sweets?
Yes, I think they might.
Yeah? Okay. Or is anybody voluntarily going to admit? Of the coach.
Oops, where'd it go? There it is. Mm.